So in this video, what we're going to look at is how to create a transfer function of a system with a DC motor. So what happened before is what we have seen until now is a transfer function of a rotational system, right, with load and with gearing. So what happened is if you have, for example, a system with gearings and load at the end of the system. So this is usually what we have seen before. What happened is you have an input torque here, T, and then it is transferred through the gearing N1 and N2 into the load, and we can calculate transfer function of, let's say, a theta 2 over T. So to be realistic, in a mechanical or mechatronic system, or in what we call electromechanical drive system, in all the system that we have nowadays, the system is always entrained or moved or actuated by an electrical component, which is a motor, right? So what happened is in real system, you have what we call sometimes we call as prime mover. So the energy conversion mechanism that creates that torque, right? So that torque is created. It comes from originally an electrical energy. So you have a certain electrical energy here, electrical power, and then transform into mechanical power. And then the mechanical power is the one that have torque one, and then being used to move a load at the end of your gear trains, right? So usually in a mechatronic system or in electromechanical drivetrain, your transfer function that we are interested in is, okay, it will produce a certain angular displacement of theta, I say. But the input is usually, it's not a torque. We don't know what the torque is. The input is basically an electrical input. It could be a voltage, for example. And then the output would be, it's either a speed or torque, right? So that's what we have usually in our system. For example, imagine an electrical car. What you have in your pedal is actually an actuator that give a certain level of voltage, and at the end, the tires of your car give a certain speed and torque that delivered to the tire and to the road, right? So today what we're going to look at is to create a transfer function of a system that is driven by an electrical motor. So basically in an electrical motor, there's many types of electrical motor. Electrical motors can be divided into two main categories. That those are the motors that are fed with AC current. In AC current, you could have a synchronous motor and asynchronous motor with magnet or without magnet. And then there is DC motor. And in DC motor, it can be divided into two as well. There is brush DC motor and brushless DC motor, right? So the simplest form of electrical motor is basically a brush DC motor. So in this example, and even in this course, the case that we're going to treat is basically a mechanical drivetrain that is actuated by a DC brush motor. So it is an example how it works. And then of course in your future career or in your future project, if you have another different motors, what you have to do is basically to try to recreate using the same principle of this transfer function development, right? So we have to look a bit on DC motor. So the pictures that I have over here on my left hand side of the screen is basically a diagram of the components that we have in DC motor. Let me see if I have I think I have a GIF. Yeah, so this is basically how a DC motor operates. It is divided into two parts. There is a static part that doesn't move on the outer part, which is what we call a stator, and the stator is composed by magnets. For example, here in simplest form, you have a two pole of magnets. So there's one magnet on right hand side, another magnet on your left hand side, and then the rotating part in the middle is what we call rotor. So basically, the stator on the outer part provide a magnetic field, and the rotor in the middle has an electrical current that goes through the coils, and it creates its own magnetic field. So the interaction between the magnetic fields in the rotor and the stator create a force that creates this rotational, right? So what we have is basically we have the brushes is the part that is connected to our power supply. So we supply a voltage to the brushes, so the current circulate in the rotor coils, create a magnetic field that interacts with the magnetic field of the stator, and then create the rotations. So if we go back to our our whiteboard, it can be modeled in two parts, right? There is a electrical model and there is a mechanical model as well. So let's start with electrical model. So we have a power supply. Let's say we have a voltage supply. I call it as EAT. So EA, that's varying function of time. And in the rotor, what happens is you supply the voltage to the brushes, and in the rotor they have coils. So the component of coils are basically, in coils you have a certain level of resistance. I call it as RA, the resistance, and a coil naturally it has a certain inductance LA, and then when it rotates, so this is the rotor, right? When it rotates, it creates a certain what we call back EMF. The EMF is a certain voltage that's countering the direction of our voltage of supply. So back EMF, let's say I'm going to call it as UBT. So the voltage UBT. So there is three components. So it's the power supply, the resistance, the inductance, and the back EMF. Right? And then this is the electrical part. And on the other hand, on your rotor, so this is your shaft. On your shaft, you would have what would you have? On your shaft, you would create a certain torque, TMT, torque motor, I would call, and you create a certain displacement, angular displacement of theta mt. And on the shaft of the rotor, if we look into at the figure that we have here, the shaft of the rotor is usually is a shaft that has a certain mass. Therefore, that certain mass has a certain inertia, right? I would call Jm, and it is usually mounted on a bearing. And when you mount it on a bearing, what happens is it has a certain viscous friction that can be modelized by a damper, dm. So this whole part is electrical model, and on the right hand side we have what we call the mechanical model. Right? So again, if we remind back our objective is to create a transfer function. So now we will define what the input and the output is. The transfer function that I want to create is basically a transfer function. So let's say I'll call the transfer function as GS. I would like to have as input the voltage of the power supply, EAS. And I would like to observe at the end the rotational speed or the rotational displacement, angular displacement of the shaft, theta ms. So this is the transfer function. Of course, later you will be able to find theta dot or theta double dot, but the basic form is basically theta ms, right? So this is the transfer function that you want to find, and so we have to find the equation that relates between theta ms and EAS. So that equation will come from the electrical model and mechanical model, as well as there will be another model after this. But let's write down the equation. So the equations from electrical model, what equations can we write? Equations we can write, if you remember in fundamental electrical and electronic class, we can write a KVL, Kirchhoff voltage law, that explain the behavior of the voltage inside the loop, right? So let's write the KVL. In order to write the KVL, you have to identify where are the voltages. So the voltages are, let me change color. So we have in this loop, there are several voltages. There's one voltages which is the power supply, EA. There's another voltage I would call as UR, the voltage created by across the resistance. There's another voltage UL, the voltage across the inductance, and then there's a back EMF, the voltage created by the rotation of the rotor, which is called we have called it UB. So if we write the KVL, if you go through the loop, the KVL says that EAT minus URT minus ULT minus UBT equals to 0, right? The sum of voltage that circulates in a loop equals to 0. So in other form, I could put EAT on one side and the other on the other side. So equals to URT plus ULT plus UBT equals to 0, right? So this is basically the same thing. So we have to develop, because we don't know what's the value of UB, what's the value of UR and UL. So using Ohm law, we know that, using Ohm law, we know that URT is basically RA multiplied by I, the current IAT. So the current is the current that come out of the power supply. I call it IA and circulates in the loop. And then ULT. So if you remember inductances, the current that goes, the voltage across an inductances equals to the value of the inductance L dI over dt plus UB. And what's UBT equals to? So this is something that you have to remember. UBT, the back EMF is basically proportional to the speed of the motor. So it is equals to an equation that we call KB multiplied by, so there is a coefficient, back EMF coefficient, is proportional to speed. So it's theta dot M T, right? Okay. So now, so there is a new coefficient that we introduced. So this coefficient is basically a coefficient that's usually given or can be found in a data sheet of the motor, or can be deduced from a graph that's given by the constructor of the motor, right? So now let's finish with the equation. So usually what happens is, so it's equal to RA multiplied by IAT LDI over dt and KB multiplied by theta dot MT. LDI dt, if we consider that the motors rotate at a constant speed, di dt, the variation of current in function of time will be equal to 0, and this is going to be very, very small. We can neglect LDI over dt. So at the end, the equation would be, in electrical, the equation would be EAT equals to RA multiplied by IAT plus KB theta dot MT. So that is our first equation that comes from our electrical model. So let's go to the mechanical part. What are the equations that can come from our mechanical model? So if you want to create an equation of a mechanical system, you do your FBD. So let's say we do our FBD on our shaft of the rotor, JM. So it rotates, it has a certain input torque that come from the motors, of course, electromagnetic torque, TM. It rotates with a certain angular displacement, theta mt, and there is, of course, a countering forces that come from the inertia. So it's Jm theta double dot, theta m double dot, and there is the friction due to the bearing of the shaft in the motor, which is equals to dm theta dot m. So the equation you know by now is pretty easy. Tm t equals to Jm theta double dot m plus d theta dot m, right? So this is our second equation, which is what we call as mechanical equation, right? So we have two equations, one electrical and one mechanical. Let's say I'm calling this as equation number one, and this one mechanical as equation number two. There is basically another equation that comes from what we call electromechanical equation. Electromechanical behavior. So this is an equation that relates between the current and the torque. So you have in your motor, basically, you create a torque, right? Tm, and its relation with the current can be written as Tmt equals to Kt multiplied by Iat, right? So the torque that is created in a DC motor is proportional. It has a relation with the current. The more you have load, the more you have torque that you have to supply, the more it will consume current electrically. So this Kt is another coefficient. Just now we have another one coefficient in electrical equation, Kb, right? Now we have Kt. So Kt is what we call a torque coefficient or electromechanical coefficient. Kb just now, this is what we call back EMF or speed coefficient. So we have two coefficients that we have to, it's either given or we have to find it out. Let's say if you have, we have now, in summary, we have three equations. So this is the third one. The first equation is the equation come from mechanical behavior, electrical behavior. Second equation is the equation come from the mechanical behavior of the motor. And the third equation is the equation that comes from electromechanical behavior of the motor. And now we have two coefficient that is related to DC motor, right? So the two coefficient can be given or have to be found. Let's say if it has to be found, the two coefficient are Kt and Kb, right? How do we find this coefficient? To find this, how do you find this coefficient? To find this coefficient, what you have to do is to find the graph in the data sheet of torque speed graph, of a graph of the operating points that describe the surface where an area of torque versus speed where the motor can operate. So in axis, you have the speed, omega, called omega. Usually it is in radian per second. And here in y-axis, you have torque. So Tm, usually the unit is in Newton meters, the SI units. And the graph will look something like this. So the graph will have, in function of your, it depends on your voltage of supply EA, you have multiple lines that goes across this graph. You have, for example, one lines that go like this. If you supply to the motor a voltage of E1, and then you have other lines. For example, if you supply it with E2, you have another line if you supply the motor of E2. So let's say if you have E2, you could have all this pair of torque and speed, right? So how do you find Kt and Kb? In order to find Kt and Kb, I have to define 2 points. The first point is, let's take, if we supply it with voltage E2, right? So there is this one point, is the point what we call as stall torque, T stall. So it's the value of torque when the speed is 0. It is called stall torque. is the maximum torque that can be provided by the motor. Another point that we need to define KT and KB is this point. This point is what we call no load speed. So speed of no load is the maximum speed of the motor at voltage E2. It's basically the speed of the motor when you have no load at all, when you have no resistance at all. It is rotating at free run. So this T stall and omega no load will help us in defining what KB and KT is. Okay, first KB. KB, as we said, KB is the coefficient of back EMF that describes the relation between rotational speed and a voltage, right? So it is equals to EA. So for example, here the value is E2, EA, the voltage, divided by the speed at no load, omega no load. So that's how you find KB. So it's the voltage of the graph divided by its maximum speed, speed no load. And KT, what's KT equals to? KT, which is a coefficient that relates between the voltage, between the current and torque, it is basically equals to, so this time we have to use T stall multiplied by RA over, so the resistance of the electrical circuit, divided by EA, right? So it's T stall multiplied by RA over EA. So in this case, for example, if we take this T stall, EA would be E2 and RA is RA that can be found in the catalog of the motor or in the question of your exercise, right? So that's how you find KB and KT. Okay, now that we have found KB and KT, let's go back to our initial objective of creating the transfer function. We have three equations, equation number 1, equation number 2, and equation number 3. And you want to create a transfer function that relates between EAS and theta MS, right? So let's write down the equation back in a proper manner. So the first equation is, I'll rewrite everything. I'll rewrite everything and I will transform it directly into Laplace domain, because transfer function is written in Laplace in frequential domain. So now the first equation becomes EAS equals to RA multiplied by IAS plus KB. Now KB is known, we found it. KB multiplied by, so theta dot MT becomes S theta MS, right? So that's equation number 1. Equation number 2 that comes from mechanical, we have TMS equals to, so it's JM S square theta MS plus DMS theta MS. So that is equation number 2. And then equation number 3, we have TMS equals to KT multiplied by IAS. So this is equation number 3. So in this 3 equation, we need to use all of them in order to find the relation between EA and theta MS. If you look at the first equation, we have several unknowns. EAS is the unknown that we want in the equation, right? Theta MS is the unknown that we also want in the transfer function, but there is other unknown that we don't want. The unknown that we don't want is basically IAS. So we have to replace IAS. How do we replace IAS? IAS in third equation, IAS can be written as, so IAS can be written as TM over KT. So the first step will be to replace, so let's say, the first step will be to replace equation 3, replace in equation 1. But once we replace equation 3 and equation 1, what we have instead of IAS here, we would have Tm over Kt. But Tm is also another unknown that we don't want in the transfer function. But if you look into second equation, we have Tm. Tm can be described by other known parameters, which is J and Dm, and J and Dm is also described, Tm is also described as a function of theta m. So the next step would be, after replacing 3 in 1, equation 3 in equation 1, what we need to do next is replace equation 2 into equation 1. So let's do that. So if we replace equation 3 in equation 1, so equation 3, if we rewrite now, it's equals to, because we want IAS, right? So IAS is basically TMS over KT. So replace 3 into 1 becomes EAS equals to RA multiplied by TMS over KT plus KBS theta ms, and then we replace Tm with equation number 2. Now it becomes EAS equals to RA over KT multiplied by, so Tm is equals to JMS square theta ms plus, so it's multiplied by everything, plus DMS theta ms, right? And plus KBS theta ms. So now in this equation, so we've done it. In this equation, the only unknown that we have is EA and theta m. So we can now isolate theta m and write our transfer function. Okay. Let's isolate theta m. So right now it's just simple math. EAS is now equals to, let's say I isolate theta ms. So theta ms is actually multiplied by RA over KT multiplied by JM square plus DMS, right? Plus KBS. So if we write the transfer function that we wanted, GS equals to, we want to observe the displacement of the shaft theta ms due to an input voltage of EAS. It is equals to 1 over, so let's say I write now 1 over RA over KT multiplied by JMS square plus RA over KT DMS plus KBS. So this is the final transfer function of a system with electrical motor. So it's basically an electrical motor alone without no load. So what we have is an electrical motor that have a rotating shaft, right? So an electrical motor that has an input of EA and that has a shaft with a certain inertia and a certain friction, create a certain displacement of theta mt. So this is the transfer function. Okay, now we've done with the transfer function of the motor.